Great to have Mike Mellon, Scotland Wheelchair Rugby League captain, here with us now to talk about all things Celtic Cup, which is happening in Wrexham this Saturday. Scotland taking on the other Celtic nations in probably the most intense one-day wheelchair RL tournament of the lot of them. Mike, thanks a lot for joining us. Really appreciate it. You're a man who almost needs no introduction. You know, multi-sport international athlete, Invictus Games medalist, Scotland Wheelchair Rugby League Player of the Year multiple times. It just kick off as a veteran of Scottish wheelchair RL, as a leader, as captain within the team. You know, what does this mean to you, this tournament, at this point in what is going to be a really exciting World Cup year for Scottish Rugby League?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got the World Cup, so this is a really good platform to see where we are leading up to it. It'll give us an idea of what we've been working on in training over the last couple of months and towards the end of last year there. We know we've got to improve on certain areas, and this will be a really good stepping stone leading up to the World Cup to see where we are.
Obviously, the profile of wheelchair RL in the last few years has really started to grow quite significantly, and clearly towards the back end of this year, we'll see some of that pay off in terms of, you know, the national coverage of the World Cup that we're going to get and the exposure that the sport's going to get. How are you feeling about the development of the game in Scotland? I mean, how much has COVID impacted on that? How are you feeling about where Scottish Wheelchair Rugby League is right now in general terms?
I first got involved in 2014 and we had good numbers, but then for a few years there, we were very stagnant. We had 5, 6 players consistently, and we've been needing to get a bigger pool of players, and that's happened over the last couple of years. You know, I think we've got 18 players on the books now, with potentially more coming along all the time. So we've actually got guys fighting for spots now. It used to be a case of, I'm a Scotland player, I can pitch up, I get selected, you know, and not so much that they didn't have to train, but I think training was not as intense because it was sort of like guaranteed spot. But now you've got guys fighting for 10 spots for the World Cup. So you can see people going away, working harder in the gym, at the wheelchair training sessions. People are getting fitter, stronger. So yeah, the competition for spots is really bringing Scotland on from where we've been in the past 6 or 7 years. So we're improving all the time, and it's great.
I could see your eyes lighting up, Mike, as you talk about competition and intensity and training. I'm feeling slightly nauseous, but I can see your eyes lighting up, and it sounds fantastic. I mean, how has the preparation been specifically for the Celtic Cup? Have you felt good about the preparations? Do you think it's in the right place? Are you looking forward to the tournament off the back of it?
Yeah, definitely. Preparation's been going well after our test in the autumn last year against Wales. We've done well in attack, need to work on our defence, and that's what we've done. We've gone away, we've worked on our defence. So hopefully this weekend we'll cause an upset or two and definitely challenge. Obviously, we got beat by Wales and Ireland in the last Celtic Cup, and we want to improve on that. I can see an upset against the Irish, and we can definitely push the Welsh as we go forward this weekend.
And looking longer term towards the World Cup, you know, obviously that's the thing that in rugby league at the moment is on everyone's minds, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, because it's here, right? So it's huge for us in general. I mean, what are you thinking about in terms of where the Celtic Cup fits on your development pathway towards that? Are you thinking you're going to get a good benchmark from this? Yeah,
definitely. But we've still got training sessions leading up to the World Cup. We've got a few guys that aren't selected here because they've missed some training sessions due to the Invictus Games. We've got people away with their work in the army, you know, so they're potentially going to join us for the World Cup as well. But yes, it definitely will give us a good idea of where we stand. Wales are one of the best teams in the world, and if we can challenge them now this weekend, that stands us in good stead with the training we've got leading up to the World Cup. You know, Twig and Dave have done a fantastic job over the last couple of years, and they've really gave us a good foundation to work from, and you can see improvement all the time. With another 6 months or so to go to the World Cup, yeah, we can keep on improving.
Just speaking personally as an athlete, which I'm definitely not, so I'm asking you, you know, as an athlete, you know, you've obviously been through a lot over the last couple of years with COVID and the disruption around that and so on and so forth. I think that's affected all sports to a greater or lesser extent. How much of a relief is it to be into a space where you're actually able to train more regularly and be able to compete more regularly? I mean, is it a weight off your mind?
Yeah, well, actually, I put on weight during lockdown. It was a case of sitting in the house, and I put on 2 stone just through lack of activity. And basically, when we're allowed back out again, it was like a kick up the backside. Right, let's get back into it. Let's lose the weight. Let's get fit. And having that, like I said earlier, having that competition within the squad now, I am actually hitting the gym 5 days a week, doing 2 wheelchair sessions a week. You know, so it's making a huge difference. And obviously, it makes you feel a lot better as well. Once the weight starts to come off, you can see a difference in your body. It makes you feel a lot better within yourself. So yeah, it's good to get out of COVID and playing sport again.
I think I'll have to take your word for the last bit, Mike. I don't think that's really happened for me, but I'm totally on board with what you're saying and the message. Just in terms of your personal ambitions, you know, you are an experienced athlete, you are a medalist, you've had great success in the sports that you've been involved in. You know, it's a big year, obviously, for Scotland. It's a big year for rugby league. What about you personally? What are your ambitions for this year? What do you want to see for yourself coming out of this year?
Overall, for Scotland, I went to the World Cup last time in France, and we never got the results we wanted. Never got a win on the board. We came close to it against Spain, but this year we've got the unknown of the USA in our pool. You know, so potentially we've got a win there. We can push the Welsh in our squad, in our group, sorry. So that's for Scotland. For me, I've always got little goals. So obviously I'm getting older. I'm 43, coming up to 43. So I always look at, right, who's the fastest in the squad? Right, Callum is. I want to be faster than Callum. Who's the best passer? Connor. You know, Graham's got a cool head, you know, whereas I'm a bit more aggressive on the pitch and a bit more fired up. So I want to take all these little bits from the squads, and I want to be the best and put them all together. Now that's a hard target because we've got some really talented, skillful, knowledgeable players on the team. But that's how I look at things as an individual. So if I can take a little bit or have little goals like that going forward, I'll get there in some way. It may not always be faster than Callum or as cool as Graham, but if I can take a little bit of each of our players that we've got, it can improve my game personally.
It's really interesting to hear, you know, an experienced player, a successful player, a veteran leader talk about the things that they learn themselves from other players coming into the squad. I think that's really fascinating. On the leadership side of things, do you find yourself, as the squad is getting bigger and as there's more competition for places, fulfilling more of a mentoring role for some of the younger players coming into it for the first time and having to find their way in international sport?
Yeah, obviously, relatively new to the sport. Young people, got Ryan, my son, who's been involved with the Scotland team. He's 16. He's away with the army right now, but he's always asking, what should I be doing here? What should I be doing there? So yeah, it's good to pass that on. But there's some aspects of my nature that aren't so good, and I don't want the teammates. I can lose it quite easily on the pitch. Most people would probably say I'm a nice guy off the pitch, but I'm a different person on the pitch, which I'm trying to rectify. I'm trying to be a bit more cooler, more calmer, because I can lose my head sometimes, which isn't. I wouldn't have liked that as a young guy with my captain doing that to me. So I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, definitely, you've got young guys coming up and asking questions and that. And if I can't answer them, I'll pass them on to Graham or the coaching staff. So yeah, it's a real team effort with the Scotland setup.
Fantastic. And to leave the last word to you, are there any things about rugby league at the moment in 2022 that you're really excited about beyond the World Cup, or is that really the main focus for all of us across the board?
Yeah, definitely the World Cup. You know, I mentioned it before that we struggled in France, some heavy defeats against Italy, and really disappointing. So that's my goal this year, is the World Cup. We're trying to build for the future as well. So the next World Cup after this, we're trying to get young guys involved, because I don't think I'll be around in 4 years' time with my shoulders and my back and everything else that's falling off me. But yeah, so definitely focus for me this year. But as a team and as a group, we're looking towards the future as well.
Fantastic, Mike. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and good luck at Celtic Cup on Saturday.
Thanks very much. Anytime.